Well, welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and this one is all about the Defender 130 Outbound, this car here. And what we're going to do with this car is actually take it on a road trip. We're off on a family ski holiday, we set off tomorrow, and you're going to join us on that journey, and we're just going to discover how good a car this makes as a family car. And I've also put alongside it our Range Rover Sport D300, and this car I haven't talked about at all on the channel yet, but you might know if you're a regular viewer of Harry's Garage, I've been running the P400e hybrid Range Rover. That had to go back, it was on a lease deal. What do I replace it with? And I am completely confused what to replace it with, because I just feel the new Range Rover is too big, too heavy, and I've bought several Range Rovers up to now and I don't know what to buy. I ended up with a Range Rover Sport D300. And actually, having done 2,000 miles, I'm quite happy with it. And we're about to take it on this holiday. And then Land Rover launched the 130 version of the Defender, and it actually suits our needs better, which you'll see in a moment. Just getting back to this vehicle, just some quick details on this car. So a 130 Outbound D300 starts at £78,115. The car as you see it here, £96,745. There's always extras, isn't there, on a car to add on. Capiefron grey, this colour, is an extra £1,800. Bizarrely, you'll see it's slightly satin, this car, and that is £4,000. LED lights are extra £760. So I'll go through the extras in due course because you're going to be joining the journey. But D300, both exactly the same engine. I can't get over how different the design of these two cars is. We always say, oh, cars all look the same. Well, look at these two. They've basically got very similar underpinnings, both got the same engine. You couldn't get a more different look than a Defender and a Range Rover Sport. This is all sleek, it looks like it's all been sort of sanded down to make it super smooth. This chunky, business-like, big gruff grille on it. And I'm very intrigued how they're going to behave over a distance in the Defender. One thing I have learnt on the Range Rover Sport, which has come as a complete surprise, is how good it is on fuel. I've gone back to diesel because I think diesel is just getting overlooked. It's going to be gone in a few years, unfortunately. But on these sort of cars, I think it's an engine that really suited them, because they're big cars and we use them as family cars, and diesel offers fantastic range. Don't mention range when you're talking about electric cars, otherwise everybody dives into the comments. But 550-mile range, and on a run, on motorway runs, we are seeing well over 40 mpg. I haven't driven this new Defender long enough to find out what it's going to do on its D300, but it's 730 odd miles to where we're going in the French Alps, and so it seems a good choice to go diesel. And the reason it's a better choice than perhaps the Range Rover Sport, you have to come round the back to see what that's all about. Now, of course, the big difference with the 130 is the length of it. And look at the size of the cabin, this extended door and this great big cargo area at the back. And the weirdness, actually, I'll put the dimensions up here, it's not that much longer than the Range Rover Sport, but it's how it uses its space. Range Rover Sport is just under 5 metres long, while the Defender is just over 5 metres long. Now, the reason why I'm keen on the 130 is, please excuse the noise outside, there's a storm brewing. My son is very keen on skiing, and so keen that we have to carry his skis everywhere. And unlike everyone else I know, he has to have more than one pair of skis. So that's his powder skis. If we open the back of this, yeah, then he has different skis for more regular slopes when he's with the family and things. So I want to carry skis in here, and this 130 quite happily gets skis in, as you can see, 2 pairs of boots, some mad poles he insists on having that look bent and knackered to me, but apparently not. So that is why the 130 suits us. I do not want to put a roof rack on this car for travelling across Europe. I don't like a roof rack up there. They whistle as you're going down a motorway. You always worry if things are going to get stolen and stuff. So what we're going to do now, pack up the car, and then very early in the morning we're off, and you'll join us on this trip to the French Alps. Well, morning, we are 17 miles away from the Channel Tunnel. We set off, I don't know, 6:30 or something this morning. It was dark, raining, and we kept on piling more and more things into the boot, but I can see out the back window, I don't know how many bags we've got with us, but yeah, there's 4 of us and all the kit for skiing and quite a lot else in the back of here. All very easy. If you look round, yeah, CarPlay connects instantly. We're on Waze, you can see, and we are cruising 72 miles an hour, true 70 miles an hour, because we're a bit early actually, which is unheard of for Metcalfs, but going very well this time of day. Things about the car, very quiet. I did a noise test and it's really quite low on the motorway. It's 67, 68 decibels. Even on the super noisy concrete, it was 84 decibels, so that's good. And just lots of space. 2 in the back, saying lots of space for the seats, you can adjust them, plenty of legroom, that sort of thing. So it's just, yeah, that's what a sort of Defender does well, really. It just has lots of oddment places, lots of places to put things, good space, and it's helped with this. If you look up, you've got the panoramic roof in this example, which is always nice as sort of dawn starts coming up. So yeah, all easy. I think the main thing that I'm just questioning is fuel consumption. Is even at a gentle cruise, 33 mpg, which Charlie and I were just discussing, the Range Rover Sport easily gets into the 40 mpg, 42, I think we've seen a best of 47. If that's true, then this is using a third more fuel than the Range Rover Sport, even though it's exactly the same engine. So I'm questioning that. I will actually check it, brim the tank, and just see if that's actually a true figure. But yeah, all is easy. We're now 14 miles away from Eurotunnel, so making good time. The other nice thing on this Defender, even though it's a 24 model year, is you get all the buttons and heater controls and heated seats and things, which they've taken out of Range Rover and everything else, but on the Defender it's all here. That train. This being a 24 car, you might hear some bongs and things. There you go. It's getting upset for some reason, right? It thinks it's the speed changes. They have to have this speed recognition by law on all 24 cars. This car has it, but you can turn it off, and there's this button on the steering wheel here. I press that, press it again, and I'm moving to low. There we go, and then that turns it off. So at least Land Rover made it pretty easy to turn off. Lane assist is also on there as well, but fortunately that button turns that off as well. So anyway, head off, 541 miles, arrival 7:30, I wonder. Right, moment of truth to see if our péage tag actually works. So you look for the T sign. I've explained this before, but if you travel a lot in France, it's so worth having. Yeah, it works. And there was a slight issue at home, because just before Christmas I said to Charlie, who'd borrowed the tag to go to Le Mans this year, I said, where's the tag? Which is actually the last time we drove abroad. Gone. Don't know where it was. And I ordered one up a few days before Christmas, and it arrived the next day. So fantastic service, really. And then you activate it on their website. I'm going to put a link in the video description, because they are a must-have in a right-hand drive car and you drive in France. You can also get them for Spain and Portugal off the same website. The other thing just to mention in this car, I noticed it in the UK a little bit, but more so here, it's really sensitive to crosswinds. Yes, it's quite windy today, but I think it's such a big car. You know, side profile of this car is impressive, almost truck-like, and you notice it when it got a side wind. Yeah, you can just feel it. It doesn't really translate so on camera, but you can feel it moving about. I suppose the tall suspension, taller tyres sort of accentuates it. But yeah, anyway, we've now still got 514 miles to go. Yeah, big old place, France. Lost my seat. Charlie's taken over for a little bit. Yeah, looking, oh Charlie, what are you doing to the MPG?
I know.
28.4. What are you doing?
I know.
We're in the 30s when I was driving.
We were? No, we were 29 dead when we swapped.
Right.
But it's just, yeah, the speed difference between UK and France. The fact that it's quite windy out there.
Yeah, the wind is a thing, isn't it, in this car?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be this bad. Like we were talking about this earlier. The last car I felt wind affecting the car in such a way was the Suzuki Jimny.
Yeah.
Really.
What are you going to say then? Yeah, but that moved about in the wind as well.
That did move about in the wind, but that was a tiny little car with big slab sides for its size. I guess this is just a bit bigger. It's super, like you said, super quiet. It's a very, very easy car to do miles.
It is. Yeah. No,
the speakers are really good.
Yeah, and we're filling it up with trash and detritus. Yeah.
So many places to put it.
It's good. We're a big fan of this, aren't we? This shelf here. Very good. With this one here. Little things here, keys. Another giant one down there.
I would like to point out that that's a hip flask that is empty right now.
Yeah, that's just that you're driving
to.
No. Yeah. Charlie, don't forget the flip mask. Yeah, let me hide that out of the way, so just in case we have a stop. What else is there? It's all good, isn't it? But we still got 368 miles to go.
I think we will crack 500 miles out of range for a tank.
Yeah.
Which it's not bad in the grand scheme of things.
No, but it has got a bigger tank than a Range Rover Sport.
But what about compared to the V8 Defender? Because that would be, we'd be filling up at least 2 or 3 times on the way down.
If we'd brought, I was originally offered the supercharged 5 litre 500 horsepower one of these, and I said I think I'll take the diesel on this trip, thanks, much as that sounds good fun. But God, imagine that on this trip.
You just wouldn't need it.
No,
it'd be really annoying.
No. But I wonder if that's the last hurrah of that supercharged engine as well.
It's got to be, doesn't it?
Have to be on that Defender, because everything else just uses twin turbo BMW engine. Anyway, crack on. Yeah, we're just under half a tank then.
We're enjoying all the farming as well.
Yeah, lots of farming going on. Lots of ploughing. I seem to really like the plough around these parts. I don't care, it's really quite wet out there. Well, we arrived last night. It's quite late, dark, misty, and yeah, we went straight into supper. But we're in Le Carol. It's in an area of France. It's easier to get to than going all the way down to Val-Zertine, that sort of thing, if you come from the UK. So an easy drive out-ish. 670 miles, I think we did in all. We're actually staying Milk Hotel, which is that one over there, on the piste, as you can see, and all very convenient. But thoughts after doing that journey yesterday. Initially, that strong winds, sort of moving about in the wind, it's a big car. If you look at it from the side, just look at the size of it. But that size then comes into it when we're actually seeing how much we can fit in this car. We went down, fetched some skis this morning, and just chuck in, I think we had 5 sets of skis, a non-issue in the back of this car. And I got Charlie to take his bag out, and you can see the size of the bag that we had in this thing. I'll show you in a moment when we open the back, but it's really very wide between the 2 rear seats. So I like that. Other things, just the comfort in it really. No one complained about sitting in this thing for that long when we're in it. Seats, lots of controls, easy, and just the fact it's got lots of places to put things is a real bonus when you're doing sort of long journeys. I love also the sort of utilitarian style of the Defender. Rubber mats, no question. No, there's no carpet hiding underneath. Absolutely perfect for a vehicle like this. And the other great thing is just the way the Pivi Pro, their new systems just work. The CarPlay never drops, and you now get, on this one, it had wireless charging there. Immediately charged the phone all the way over, carried on working, didn't overheat. Big plus. And even in the back, big seats, and something I didn't realise, even though, you know, this is the Outlander, you get adjustable back rates. I can actually move the seat backwards and forwards. Yes, you've got this big bag here, but because of the width between the seats, it doesn't actually get in the way at all. And then round the back, chuck it all in. Vastness of this car. There is no issues with putting so much clobber in the back of here, and I was worried that we wouldn't be able to see out the back window. No, we weren't, even with the amount of people in the car and all the packing for the, you know, part. We've got a load of presents and things in there because it's the kid's birthday. Spare tyre on the back. You sort of don't think about it, but it has a full-size spare. And the day before we left, puncture. And I say, oh no, what are you going to do? How are you going to get it repaired? It's very reassuring when you go away a long journey like this, knowing full-size spare if you do happen. Fortunately, it was a nail right in the middle of the tread, and we had it plugged a few hours before we set off. So that was good. So yeah, some real pluses so far. What we're going to do now, basically park it up for the next 7 days or so, and you might join us on the way back. We'll see if there's sort of weather in between. There's forecast a lot of snow. Well, that might make it quite exciting, so we'll see if that happens. Otherwise, I'll do a conclusion or something when we get home in a week's time or something like that. But for the moment, heading onto slopes, go and have a bit of fun. Well, we're back in the UK. We arrived back yesterday. There are now 1,424 miles recorded since we set off and we headed out to the French Alps. And we had a great time out there. The snow did arrive, and yeah, it was pretty scenic at one point. There was a lot of snow over the period we were out there, and we went out just, we wanted to try a different ski area. And the first thing I'm going to say about this car, I really like these new generation all-season tyres. I've always been a fan of all-season tyres, and this has got Pirelli Scorpion Zero all-season tyres, and they are very good in snowy conditions. I think for the UK, where we don't get snow very often, and you occasionally visit the Alps and things, they're a very good option rather than going to full winters. Obviously, full winters are that much better, and if you live out there where you're going to use them, but for UK use, all season says what it does on the tin, and you can use them through the summer and the winter, and you don't have to faff around changing tyres or wheels, etc. But yeah, conclusions, running through some of the things on this car and what have we learnt over the 2 weeks we've had it, kicking off with the dislikes. I suppose the first one I'm going to mention is price. The 130 Defender is a fair chunk more than a regular 110 Defender. I'm not quite sure why they charge around £10,000 premium between the two, and this being Outlander one is that much more. It's got exterior styling enhancement. It's quite hard to tell exactly what that is. This one is painted in this, Catherine grey, this sort of matte look as well. The matte is that much extra. £16,000 worth of extras on this car lift its price from, I think it's 81 something on the road. With extras, this one is as near as damn it £97,000. It's quite a lot for a utilitarian type family car, isn't it? I mean, there's no carpet, all rubber mats, which is a sort of positive. We'll come on to that. But the price is chunky. The other dislike is MPG, and I chose D300 because I've had such a good experience with that Range Rover Sport, which you saw at the beginning of the video, and it's remarkable how good it is on fuel. This one is completely different. I'm staring at 27.6 mpg for the past 1,400 miles, and that is a steady cruise across France. At no point were we speeding, and that is about 30% worse than a Range Rover Sport would do with the same engine. Without actually driving to France and back, I can't confirm, but with the 2 weeks I've had it and the bit used it in the UK, I would say 30% difference between the two, with this Defender being that much worse. And I had to investigate why it makes such a difference. I did brim the tank at one point and I checked it, and it's actually about 0.8 mpg worse than it says there. It was 26.9 when I brimmed it and checked the actual fuel consumption. Why is it that much worse than the Range Rover Sport? It turns out to be two things. The way it goes through the air, CD factors as it's termed, is much worse on a Defender than any other current Land Rover product. This is rated at 0.38 CD factor, and then if you look at the Range Rover Sport, it is their best model at 0.29 CD factor. Huge difference, and that will multiply, the effect will get greater. It's the way the Range Rover Sport goes through the air is enhanced, particularly at the higher speed you use. So there's us cruising across France, you're going to get a dramatically different MPG between the two. The other thing, I weighed both cars, this is 200 kilos heavier than a Range Rover Sport as well, and that'll have a little effect in day-to-day running, less so obviously when you're cruising down the motorway when the weight doesn't really come into it. If you look at the two Range Rover Sport and Defender and those different CD factors, you notice with the same engine, the Range Rover Sport does 135 miles an hour, this does 119 miles an hour. And it's something just to think about, that if you like the chunky off-road look, there is a compromise because it doesn't go through the air as well as something that's more streamlined. Same thing with the G-Wagon. I looked that up, and that has a CD factor of 0.54 or something, the new one, and it's hopeless. So that would drink fuel as well as you're charging across France. So yeah, not so good on fuel. But on the like side, well, it's just, I love the way it's designed to do a job, and it does it really well. As I've mentioned before, all the cubby holes, everything, we had no issues doing that big journey, 700-mile journey, 4 up, comfort fine, seats terrific, visibility great, mirrors, Pivi Pro, everything terrific, and it made a very habitable sort of space. I also like when we're out there, just the rubber mats, I picked them all up with their ski boots. It's designed to do a job, and I really like that, and it was great to experience it doing that job. I like the size of it as well. It is long. What's unusual, you don't notice its huge length, comparatively 5.3 meters in day-to-day living as much as you think, and that's because it's just over 5 meters long, but then it's got that spare tyre on the back. But the way it's designed, it's very easy to see all 4 corners, and it's not nearly as intimidating as a 5.3 metre overall length would have you think it should be, because 300 mil of that is the tyre on the rear, and that's set up high. So when you're parking and doing manoeuvres, it's got very rounded corners, and I can see all 4 corners, so I don't feel as though I'm driving an enormous bus. I mean, it is big, don't get me wrong, but it's not excessively so. When I drove that long wheelbase Range Rover, that felt really big and intimidating. This, not so. And it's actually narrower than a Range Rover as well, the Defender design. And that space then gives you massive options. There's even a 8-seater option on this car. So you get 3 rows, I've got 3 seats behind me, and then there's another row of 3 seats as an option. Not on this Outbound model for some reason, not sure why. The only thing on the length I will mention, on the Eurotunnel, we got charged extra because you have to go in the tall vehicle bit. It was about 30 quid extra because it doesn't fit in a standard car carriage, apparently. Might be height as well, I don't know. Another slight dislike, I suppose, was the effect of side winds we discovered in France. But yes, it was a named storm coming across UK and France when we travelled out. But it did move about in strong winds. And the steering it's good when you're turning into a corner, and the handling is surprisingly good and quite enjoyable, and it grips for England, and it's Yeah, it's a surprise how good, but there is a sort of deadness at the straight ahead, and you find yourself making slight adjustments all the time. I mean, because it's a 24 model year, it's got all the nonsense, all the lane assist and the speed recognition and all that sort of thing. But the plus side, it's dead easy to turn off, so that's good. So, conclusion on the Defender 130 Outbound. How do we get on? It was a massive hit on this trip. It was just so good. This trip was basically designed for it. I didn't realise it before we set off, but it was perfect. It's not often you get a car that is designed to do a job and it absolutely smashes it out the park. It feels like this is the car that the Discovery 5 should have been. Really practical, family wagon for carrying everything, don't care, hit the door, does supermarket run, does the mountain biking into the Lake District, does the ski holiday, does everything that you want a sort of car like this to do. Yes, it's a big car, but it's multi-purpose and it's super comfortable on motorways and quiet. Everybody's got plug-in for their phones, it's got wireless charging, it's got all the mod cons, but with that utilitarian sort of overview of it and usage that got people so infused about their Range Rovers and Discovery 3s and 4s way back when. It feels a proper Land Rover, and therefore I've loved it. I've loved it with a D300 engine. I think it's the choice engine for this. If you want to pose around London and make, you know, great noises, well, go for the supercharged V8 while you can still buy one. But for how I would have it, this is just about the perfect spec. Would I buy one? Well, I'm hesitating because I can't get over the efficiency of the Range Rover Sport. My son Charlie would have this all day, every day over the Range Rover Sport. Image is an issue for him on the Sport. I love the design of this, outside and in. So yeah, big hit. There you go. There's my conclusion on this Land Rover Defender 130 Outbound. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, keep watching, keep subscribing. More videos coming along very soon.